This is the Tom Bigby Tales. I write and research about a town on the Tombigbee River in northeast Mississippi called Columbus, and sometimes I write about the rest of the state. This episode is about Robert Webb Banks, a former captain of the 37th Mississippi Infantry of the Confederacy, who became an author. Banks was born in Columbus, Mississippi to Dunstan and Lucretia Webb Banks, early pioneers who settled this area. In the December 12th, 1850 U.S. federal census of Columbus, Robert, then 7, was living with his parents. His father was a planter and had a town home and also a plantation out on the prairie. Their plantation was worth about $25,000 at the time, and they had 50 enslaved people on their property. In 1859, Robert enrolled at the University of Alabama. In the 1860 census, he was 17 years old, a student living with his parents and his siblings, and his father was still listed as a planter. His father was also an editor and a writer in the local paper, was also the first county clerk for Lowndes County. In 1862, after the Battle of Shiloh, he enlisted as a private here in Columbus and was assigned to Company B of the 43rd Mississippi Infantry. By May 17th, he's listed on the muster roll with the remarks, Cadet of Alabama University, ordered back by the governor of Alabama. From March to October of 1862, he shows present on all the muster rolls. By November, he is remarked as having been transferred November 20th of 1862 to the 37th Mississippi Regiment by order of General Mallory. In 1863, on the field and staff muster roll, he's listed as present, and he is listed now as a sergeant major. On July 4th of 1863, he was captured at the fall of the siege of Vicksburg. On July 5th, he signed an oath promising never to take up arms against the United States again in exchange for release. On July 9th, he was shown on a roll of prisoners of war. In June 30th through October 31st of 1863, he is listed on a field muster roll as present. And then in November, he's listed as absent with leave. By 1864, in that summer, he's assigned to duty again. And that is when he rejoins the Mississippi Regiment and fights in November of 1864 in what is considered one of the bloodiest engagements of the Civil War at the Battle of Franklin. And there, it is presumed, in May of 1865, he is paroled in Greensboro, North Carolina, at the end of the Civil War. He returns home, falls in love, and marries Alice Sherrod of Lawrence County, Alabama. They live in Lowndes County, and he and his wife Alice and their children in 1880 are listed on the U.S. Census in Columbus. He had risen at some point to captain in the Confederacy, but his friends all knew him as Bobs. And he was the chairman of the executive committee of the Democratic Party in Lowndes County of 1880. And he was very well respected and known to be a rather well-versed and patriotic spokesman, and gave great election speeches. Captain Banks would go on in 1908 to author a book, The Battle of Franklin, November 30th, 1864, the bloodiest engagement of the war between the states. At some point in his professional life, he was also the editor and a primary reporter for the Columbus Index. In the 1910 census, he has left and moved to Biloxi. Somewhere between 1908 and 1910, he has moved to Meridian, and it became an editor of a local paper there before moving and retiring to be near his adult children in Biloxi, Mississippi. In 1915, his beloved wife Alice dies, and in 1919, Robert Webb Banks dies and is buried in Biloxi, Mississippi. And that is all we know about Robert Webb Banks, an author from Columbus, Mississippi. I want to thank you for joining me for this little tidbit of local history and learning a little bit more about the town and the people who built it. Until next time.